This show is brought to you in part by viewers like you who joined a Patreon or become YouTube members. Thank you. And if you could, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content.
Okay. So the Browns took a running back in the second round. That running back is Quinshon Judkins. He went before Travion Henderson. There's a lot here. There's some poetic stuff. There's some things to actually break down. It is interesting that the Browns had 2 second-round picks, one being the first pick of the second round and the other one being like about 5 picks later. And with the first one, they go Carson Schlesinger. With the second one, they go running back. Last time the Browns picked a running back with their second-round pick, it turned out pretty good. Guy by the name of Nicholas Chubb ended up being a really good football player. So hopefully we get that same fortune here with Quinshon Judkins, who I do like a lot as a player. There are some questions about his long speed and his explosion and vision as compared to Travion, but I think these two were closer than a lot of people gave him credit for. It's more of a difference of how you feel about the style of running back that you want. Right? Do you want somebody who's explosive and can hit a home run and break it off for 80, 90, maybe even a touchdown? That's Travion. Do you want a running back who can put his head down and move people? That's Quinshon. My comp for him is Kareem Hunt. I think when you watch Quinshon Judkins, it's a lot like watching Kareem Hunt. You know, not the most visual heavy running back, but boy, does he hit people, right? And if you are a person who really, really likes running backs who move bodies, move piles, are good in a short yardage situation, you're going to like Quinshon Judkins. I like this pick. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially if you're bringing back Nick Chubb. I know a lot of people think taking Quinshon here means no more Nick Chubb. You're not going to go Nick Chubb here, bring back Nick Chubb. But I don't think that's the case. If I compliment Kareem Hunt, we know just how well that skill set that Quinshon has with what Nick Chubb has can work out together. Quinshon is a short yardage guy. I think that's important to have right now because you don't have a short yardage guy on the roster. I think it's the main thing that Browns rushing game was missing last year, right? When the Browns needed to just get 3-4 yards on first down, they had nobody they could hand the ball off to and reliably get that out of. We know that's not Jerome Ford's game. Jerome Ford is a home run hitter, but he's not a let me put my head down and try to get 2-3 yards here kind of running back. He's awful at that. Nick Chubb has never been strong at that kind of stuff either, right? He's a downhill, wide zone, left-right runner, not necessarily up the middle. When he's successful up the middle, it's usually through a cutback lane. So we know Nick Chubb's not going to be that. Pierre Strong's not that at all. He has no contact balance. And then you go back even further and you look at like Devontae Smith? Am I tripping? Devonta Foreman, right? Was not able to provide that, even though that's what he was brought here to do. So Quinshon fills that role, right? He will be the first down running back. He will be asked to move bodies on the line of scrimmage, even if things aren't there. Really big physical runner. You saw it in the national championship game too. This guy has a nose for the end zone. So for anybody worried about how the Browns are going to pick up points, Quinshon of the 2 running backs, that was the guy who had the nose for the end zone at Ohio State. It became unstoppable to tackle close to the end zone at Ohio State. So this is somebody who could fulfill a lot of the roles that Kareem Hunt had. And be a end zone sniffer for you, somebody who can finish drives, which is another thing the Browns failed to do last year. They failed to do a lot, but finishing drives was one of those things that they failed to do. Quinshon Judkins is the type of is the type of running back that can help you finish drives. Now, here's the interesting thing with Quinshon, right? Everything I said about him is based on what we've seen on his tape. But then he goes to the combine and he runs a faster 40 than Travion Henderson, with a faster 10-yard split, I believe a higher vertical jump, and a better broad jump at 6 foot, 220 pounds, when I think Travion was doing all of that at like 6 foot, 200. So a good chunk heavier than Travion. And he's running faster. He's more explosive. So it makes you ask the question, okay, was the lack of long speed that we saw in a Notre Dame game where he breaks off a 70-yard run and he gets ran down by one of Notre Dame's safeties, was that him playing with the injury or playing through an injury in what was a very long college football season last year? Or is that what he is speed-wise? The combine numbers would suggest he's much faster than we think. Now, there's a difference between game speed and combine speed, and I wonder if Quinshon's game speed hits those same highs that his combine speed hit. But his testing seems to suggest that he could have similar upside to Travion Henderson. All in all, if you ask me, I like Quinshon Judkins. I like the pick here. You get a big physical running back. I thought of the two, Travion would be elite as a change of pace guy. I think Quinshon could be a every down running back in the NFL. Big physical guy, good athlete, fine enough catcher of the football and route runner to get away with running some routes in the NFL. I think he's going to be useful. Now, let's bring this to the conversation of what this means for Nick Chubb. I don't think this means bad things for Nick Chubb. We'll see what happens, right? Last I've heard from, what's been out there, the Browns and Nick Chubb could come to something by the end of the draft or after the draft. We'll see what happens. We'll see how many running backs the Cleveland Browns take, but I don't think taking one keeps them out of Nick Chubb. I think this is more of a pick for the future. But, yeah, I think Chubb can come back. How long Chubb stays? Probably not long, right? Nick Chubb's probably, his future is very short term in Cleveland, right? Maybe this year, maybe a year after, but they're clearly moving forward in a different direction at the running back position. And I think that's fair. And Nick Chubb's getting to that age, and the injury seems to have accelerated things. But I do hope they bring back Nick Chubb and let him run out whatever part of his career is left here in Cleveland, because I think he just deserves that, and we owe that to him. But Quinshon, I don't think means that you don't bring back Nick Chubb. Meanwhile, like something like Schlesinger, that does mean that you're giving up on JOK, or at least giving up the ideal of relying on him. But I like him, right? Especially if you watch how he ran in the playoffs. We all talk about the Will Howard playoff run, right? And Will Howard was amazing in the playoffs, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for how he played in the playoffs. But Quinshon was elevating his game right up there with him, right? I thought he was running the hardest of the two running backs, not to say that Travion wasn't. And I could see where the fit is immediately for Quinshon in this offense. Good eyes. He's not super great in space, but he's just super physical, and I think that's what the Browns wanted, just a real physical run game. Maybe this means they haven't given up on Jerome Ford yet, too. Maybe we'll see what they do with the rest of the draft. But maybe a pick like this, which is more of a compliment to what Jerome and Nick Chubb bring to the table, means that they still value Jerome Ford here, because I thought if they were out on Jerome Ford, they definitely would have gone Travion Henderson. But maybe this means that they're out on Jerome. Well, maybe this means they're not out on Jerome. They want Jerome to eventually still be that 1-2 punch for him. We'll see what they do with the rest of this draft. But yeah, Judkins is good. Judkins is good. I like him as a pick. We'll see how he looks. We'll see how he plays. We'll see what they put in this room with him. I think that's also going to be important, right? We only got one piece to this picture. But a 6 foot, 220-pound running back who runs really hard, has a nose for the end zone, and can move bodies. I like it. I like it. Some people may not love that they went with him over Travion, but I remember a time where Sony Michel was seen as the more explosive, higher upside running back to the pure running back Nick Chubb. And we see how that ended up, right? Not going to count out Quid. He ran good at the combine. Athletically tested really well. Has an athleticism score on the NFL website of 92. Production score of 74. Split carries last year at Ohio State. And played a different role. Was still very productive in that role. And if you go back, watch him at Ole Miss, very different role for him. He was super productive at Ole Miss. This guy's an athlete. This guy's a beast. And you added him to your running back room. And that's going to be a huge boost for your offense if this pick works out. Let me know what y'all think.